They locked the human cadet in the training vault. She emerged with the Apex King's head. The air in the Galactic Military Academy's induction hall was thick with the scent of ozone and sweat, the hum of alien voices murmuring in a dozen different languages. Kira Vex stood at the edge of the formation, her human frame dwarfed by the towering Vorthax with their chitinous armor, the sinewy Zorati with their triple-jointed limbs, the Zelnari with their calculating, pupil-less eyes. She was the only human cadet in a sea of warriors bred for war, and they made sure she never forgot it. Fleshling, sneered a Vorthax cadet, his mandibles clicking in amusement as he looked down at her. You'll be dead before the first trial. Kira said nothing. She had learned early that words were wasted here. The instructors, a mix of battle-scarred veterans from a dozen species, paced before them. Commandant Draxus, a 7-foot-tall Zorati with cybernetic arm, stopped in front of Kira. His slit-pupiled eyes narrowed. You, he rumbled. You think you belong here? She met his gaze. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. A ripple of laughter spread through the cadets. Draxus didn't smile. We'll see. The first trials were brutal. Strength tests, agility drills, combat simulations. Kira was outmatched in raw power, but she was fast. She was clever. She adapted, while the Vorthax relied on brute force, the Zorati on speed, the Zelnari on precision. Kira used something they didn't expect, human endurance. She didn't tire. She didn't break. But it wasn't enough. The others still saw her as weak. A joke. Then came the day of the training vault. The vault was spoken of in whispers. A fully adaptive combat simulator, designed to push a warrior to their absolute limit and beyond. Some cadets emerged stronger. Most emerged broken. A few never emerged at all. Kira stood before the massive doors, her pulse steady. Around her, the other cadets watched with cold amusement. They're throwing a human in, a Zelnari murmured. That's not a trial. That's an execution. Drax's voice boomed. Cadet Vex, you will enter the vault. You will survive as long as you can. If you last 12 hours, you pass. Kira knew what that meant. No human had ever lasted more than 2. She stepped forward. The doors sealed behind her with a final, echoing clang. Darkness. Then the world erupted into a jungle so dense she could barely see 3 feet ahead. The air was thick with humidity, the scent of rotting vegetation, and something else, something metallic, blood. A voice, synthetic and cold, echoed from nowhere and everywhere. Survive! Kira exhaled. Then she moved. She didn't wait for the first attack. She knew it was coming. The razor claw struck from above, its serrated talons slashing toward her throat. Kira twisted, driving her knife up into its belly. The creature screeched, but she didn't stop. She wrenched the blade sideways, spilling its guts onto the moss-covered ground. The vault responded. More creatures came. She fought. She killed. She adapted. Time lost meaning. The jungle shifted. Sweltering heat gave way to freezing tundra, then to a labyrinth of crumbling ruins, then to a pitch-black cavern where the only sound was the skittering of chitinous legs. Kira didn't sleep, didn't stop. She learned. The vault wasn't just testing her strength. It was testing her mind. It threw horrors at her, each worse than the last, each designed to exploit a weakness. She had no weaknesses left to exploit. Then, on what might have been the 7th day, the vault changed. The world went silent. The ground trembled, and it stepped into the clearing. The Apex King, a nightmare-given form, 12 feet tall, its body layered with armor plates, its 6 eyes burning with predatory intelligence. Its claws were as long as Kira's forearms, its jaws capable of crushing bone with a single bite. This was no mindless beast. This was the vault's final challenge. Kira smiled. The fight was not quick. It was not clean. The Apex King was faster than her, stronger, its hide deflecting most of her strikes. It backhanded her into a tree, and she felt ribs crack. It lunged, jaws snapping, and she barely rolled away in time, its teeth tearing a gash in her shoulder. Pain was an old friend. She fought back. She baited it into a ravine, where its bulk slowed it. She stabbed at its eyes, blinding one, then two. It roared, thrashing, but she didn't let up. When it pinned her, she drove her knife into its throat. When it reared back, howling, she climbed its arm and plunged the blade into its skull. The Apex King collapsed. Kira stood over its corpse, breathing hard, blood dripping from her wounds. Then she took her knife and sawed off its head. The vault doors hissed open. Silence. The instructors stood frozen. The cadets stared, their faces slack with disbelief. Kira emerged, dragging the Apex King's severed head behind her. She dropped it at Drax's feet with a wet thud. Her voice was hoarse but steady. "Next time," she said, "give me a real challenge." For the first time in the history of the Galactic Military Academy, a human had not just survived the vault. She had conquered it, and the galaxy would never look at her kind the same way again. New,